2022, I registered Vote for Nigeria. Here we'll be looking at issues, different issues, and what the creatives can do for us all to work together and have a better Nigeria. It's going to be an interesting session, so come along with me and let's see how it goes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think as I sat at the back and I listened to the conversation, one of the things that I didn't hear is how vulnerable creatives are. We sometimes forget that. So people are sitting down and thinking, why is this person not speaking? This person should speak. The fact is that because you're out there, you're more vulnerable. And so there are so many things that can be done against you. For example, myself, I'm a market woman. I don't do government contracts. I've never done any. And I've never worked for anyone. I don't work for anyone. I own my own time. My customers are the people that come to my warehouses and they buy things. I sell things. I've been doing business since the year 2000. So this is my 22nd year. And I also build houses and I sell. I have tenants. So there's nowhere where somebody can say, let us demarket her. I don't go to anybody's office to ask for contract here. But you see with creatives, it's different. All you need to do is to make a phone call and say, so and so, so don't work with this person. And so they are vulnerable. Most times we do not address that issue and the problem they go out with. I remember when Tubawa wanted to do, what was it, we did one voice, and then, at one time, they sent people, DSS and all of that, whatever happened, he was like, he pulled that, and people were after him like, no, he has a right to, because there are so many things that can be done against him, that those of us who, there's nothing, wait till they want the market, say, Aisha, I will want now. What are they going to the market? You know the one they say also, they say, you are a prostitute, I married my husband, he paid bride price, and they eating food. And I said, oh woman, and it's handled, and so what does that mean? No, you understand, so there's no, because that's one of the things they do to women. The first thing they tell you, oh, you're then you now start, I'm not a prostitute, I'm a one customer prostitute. And the day I want to add another customer, you cannot afford me. It ends there. So you see, these are things that they hold against people. So when he was vulnerable, and I said for those of us, we are not, and so we need to understand that. So that's one, the vulnerability, we need to address it. The second thing also is that we do not have a right to their platform. I see a sense of entitlement. Oh, so you are here, you have this platform, why are you not speaking on this issue? If he tells you not to speak on the issue, will you keep quiet? So the way you have a right to speak on the issue is the way the other person has a right not to speak on any issue. Now when person wake up, time money starts. You understand? So we need to also understand, because I see a lot of, that sense of entitlement. Oh, how do you have so and so and you're not doing this? So that's one. Another thing also, like I always say to people, when you want to be a voice out there, when you want to take up an issue, please do it because you want to, not because you have to. So when I say a lot of people come to me and they say, Aisha, we want to start this thing, I want to start speaking out to be an active citizen, I'm like, calm down. Do you want to do it or do you have to do it? There's a difference. When you have to do it means, okay, there's an issue, nobody's taking it on, okay, let me take it on and all of that. When you want to do it, is when you get to a place where I wear, like in my own case, I didn't speak on Nigerian issues until I was 40. The first thing I did was to focus on my financial independence. If you don't get money for this country, they will shut you down. So I focused on myself and I grew up by myself. In short, I used to say, my husband would tell you, the day he would talk about my story, he said there's an Aisha before 2014 and Aisha after 2014. Before 2014, the president would literally be sitting beside me and I wouldn't know who that person is. I didn't know the name of Dr. Obia's president. I met her first time at the Unity Fountain, April 30th, 2014. So for me, my awakening was that on my 40th birthday, I was sitting and saying to myself, okay, I grew up in the ghetto. By the way, for you to just have a short overview, I grew up in the ghetto. I would go to school in the morning without breakfast. Coming back home, I wasn't expecting lunch. By the age of 11, all my friends were married off, and people made fun of me because I refused to get married. I preferred going to school. By the age of 24, my friends were grandmothers, and that was when I got married, so I was an old maid, being made fun of. And so for me, it was all, and I'm the first child, and I'm a girl, you know what that means. I have 7 siblings that I needed to train. So for me, it was all about get that education, get that money, get that financial independence. And so I worked on that. Yes, I've always had my voice at my own level, if you try me, but at national level 0. But when I turned 40, I realized that I had become the problem of my country. How did I become the problem? My silence. The fact that I was quiet, because growing up, I was an angry teenager. See, looking at it, now we do have now listen we don't get social media, our head crazy. You know that kind of thing. So I was this angry teenager who felt, why are these people doing all of these things in this country and nothing was being done? I would say to my father, why are you not joining all these people? But in hindsight now, I realized my father couldn't join them because he was busy fending, trying to feed his children, trying to ensure that his children get good quality education and they're able to go to places. So when I got on my 40th birthday, just sitting down and reflecting, I realized, okay, I was angry, and so there are also children today who are angry the way I was angry and whom nobody is speaking of. So I was the failure. For me, that was it. And with that, I was so random. With that, I didn't bother about whether anybody appreciated what I was doing, whether anybody was interested or there was gratitude, because sometimes people, when you're going there because you think you have to, that's when you're expecting, can't you see what I'm doing? I'm not doing it for anybody, I'm doing it because I got tired of being voiceless. And you know when you're poor, you're nameless, voiceless, and faceless, you're not seen in this country. And so it's very important also as you go into the journey, whatever it is that you want to do, make sure that you're doing it because you want to and not expect anything from anyone, and every day you wake up, know that you're on this journey for you to make that difference that you can make in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing around civic engagement. I think for civic engagement, it's very, very different as an issue area because it is so pervasive and so personal. So with that, I just wanted to, if at liberties, instead of me asking just a bit of a follow-on question for the civic engagement, if there's anyone here who particularly has like a question from the creative side who is either entering or in civic engagement who may have a specific question. If there isn't, it's fine, we can network later. Okay. Are there any, just to add, are there any specific things around civic engagement in this lead up to the elections, the next, I think, 6 months almost, that there is a need for creatives to be in at this point? Now, being mindful that as an individual, you make your own individual decisions on how far you want to go. Given that, just if you would have any points there.
I think on the issue of being specific, yeah, there are quite a lot of issues that creatives need to be specific about. Let's look at the political situation. Staying away, it doesn't make, how do I put it now? Should I say it doesn't make sense? I'm sorry that people get offended by that, but it just doesn't make sense because at the end of the day, we are affected by politics. Over the years, a lot of people have felt that politics is dirty. It's a lie that we've been sold. It's all about life. Even whether you're living your life, everything is affected by politics. And so it's something that people also need to look at it and say, what else can they do? What difference can they make? And how can they ensure that they're using their voice, if they want to use their voices here, on the issues that are going on. If we look at Nigeria today, a lot of citizens are engaged. They are participating in the political process. We've not had that in a very long time, or we've not had that in this magnitude, I mean, in forever. And so what that participation, what it has done is that it has changed the political space from the way we used to know it. From citizens being told that they can't do politics, from citizens being spoken to in such insolent manner that they don't matter, their votes don't count. So right now, the citizens are the ones who are actually making demands and doing something going on. And they're changing the politics and the way it's being run. So that says a lot. And if we're able to take that also into governance, that's another thing. I'm trying to remember a name. I think there's a guy, is it Puerto Rico? Who just had a music, I'm very poor with names, and then in his music there was a documentary about the state. I think I wrote that down somewhere. Okay, I think it's Bad Bunny. There's something, so it's making way. So this is him using his music, and is that the pronunciation? Oh, okay. So what he did was to have his music, and then there was a bit of documentary attached to it, talking about what was going on, the social inequality, and all sorts of things. So these are ways that creatives can also, make a difference. You have a voice, use it. You have a voice in us, and the thing about the beauty about it is that the more we come out and speak, the more we are less vulnerable to the state picking out one person. Because what normally happens is that they go after one person, by the time they shut you down, then others are afraid to do something. But the more we speak and we're ready to stand for each other, it will ensure that we get to a place where we're getting that country that we are all looking for. And finally, also for me, is to say that we don't have any other country other than Nigeria. You might japa, yes, you might have a second passport, but there's a difference between a British Canadian and a Nigerian Canadian. A British Canadian, they know you're there because you want to be there. But a Nigerian Canadian, they know you're there because you have to be there. So we need a country that we also can be proud of, so that when they see you anywhere in the world, you're taking up any citizenship, they know that you're there because, not because you have to, but because you want to. And we have a lot of things back here that it's working for us. Nigeria is such a blessed country that we all, if we put our hands on deck, for the next, let's say, just give yourself time. I foolishly gave myself 40 years. Because on my 40th birthday, I said to God, if you give me another 40 years, I'll be on Nigerian issue. If I had known 9, I would have said 10. And we're looking at retiring in the next 2 years. So you give yourself some time. You can give 1 year, 2 years, whatever it is you're comfortable with. But at the end of the day, let's just all work together to get a great country. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been an interesting and amazing session. Ignite Conference 2022. Wow, mind-blowing, educating, and stimulating. And a couple of us are all registered, and please remember, vote for Nigeria. Nigeria is the only country we have, and we must ensure that it works for us. Nigeria must work in our lifetime by the grace of God, and we all have to have a hand on deck to ensure that it happens. Countries that have it going for them, they didn't just come out of nowhere and they had an amazing country. It took citizens participating in governance for it to happen, and already we have seen what it is when citizens actually participate. Have you seen the political space? Have you seen how it has changed just because citizens are participating right now? And just imagine also what it would be like when we participate in governance and all work together. We that voted for them to get into office will make demands on them, and they that were voted for will supply demands, and we have good governance, accountability, and transparency. It's possible. Let's keep doing it.